would you mind explaining how you use the voting slips? Explaining the 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Because
After
I'm shit
your
at
little fucking debacle. Welcome to episode 2 of the Wrong Kind of Music podcast. First of all, before we do anything, I want to thank everyone who watched the first one and gave us feedback. I personally didn't think we'd even do a second one. I thought we'd done the first one. We would have got 20 hits on YouTube. Everyone would have ignored us, and that would have been the end of it. But the feedback was really, really good. We got about 200 views on YouTube, which relatively speaking is it's nothing. But for a small scene like we've got in Belfast, I thought the feedback was great. We're really happy with it. So we're back. There's a few people I wanted to thank on the first one who I forgot about. First, I want to thank Kieran Notion, ex-Hollow Truth. He done our logo design, and I also want to thank Josh from JSLR Audio, who done that little jingle at the start of the podcast. Two absolute class guys, and I really, really appreciate the work he's put in for me. Thanks. So this week we have got Liam back. As you know, Liam, photographer in the local scene, and we also have Ali Rocco from Nevney, Death Bus, Necrofuck, and more to come. So keep an eye out. There's more bands coming from this guy. So Heat 1 of Metal to the Masses, it's done and dusted, and I don't know about you guys, I thought it was a fantastic gig.
Yeah.
One of the best gigs of the year already. Like, there's going to be hard pressed to top that.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
I think all four bands put on absolutely top-notch performances. They really did. But let's go through them. Let's take them one by one. So first up on the night were Elder Druid. Liam, what do you reckon the Elder Druid?
Oh, egg on our face on that one. Obviously, most people I think had them tipped to get through to the final at the very least. They were good, yeah, but I don't think they grasped the format properly, because they just, you're meant to come out, it's a battle of the bands, you have 30 minutes, you should just come out, hammer everybody. But they were stopping between songs, there was pauses, they just didn't seem to be their normal selves, like they were subdued, to my mind.
I mean, I thought they put on a brilliant show, it did, but I thought they were about a 90% of what Elder Druid are capable of. There was just, they seemed to be holding back just that little bit, and I don't know if it was an attempt to be more professional or to be tighter. I don't know if they were just more focused on their performance or what it was, but it wasn't quite what I would expect from Elder Druid. Don't get me wrong, it was brilliant, they're fucking great, they're still one of the best bands in Belfast. I absolutely love them, and I won't miss an Elder Druid gig. But on that night, I think something was just... it didn't quite hit it the way they needed to hit it in terms of a competition. And that's...
I think they maybe treated it more like their own gig. Where you've obviously got more time to let it breathe and expand on stuff, and that's, I think, what counted against them.
What did you reckon?
I'd agree. Mostly with that anyway. I was setting Elder Druid winning this year. I thought for sure, at least that, like you said, at least they get to the final. But I think that they were mostly there. Just there was I wasn't sure what it was. There was just something maybe slightly missing this year. Because last year they put on some amazing performances, and they have continued to do that throughout the year, not just at Metal to the Masses. So it was a bit of surprise, but they were still great. Just I think that they weren't as great as they were before. Last year's Metal to the Masses for sure, and I think that it might have just been some slight errors and within their performance, definitely.
Yeah. Is what it is, I guess.
Shame, because they, like you said, they're easily one of the best bands we have in this country.
Fantastic band, for 100%.
Second up were Kidos. I thought Kidos came onto that stage like something let out of a cage.
Yeah.
They just went for it. Absolutely went for it. And they played their hearts out.
Yeah. 100%.
And they played like they wanted something. They played like, we want this.
Yeah. See, because I would say, like, with Kidos, they're a relatively new band, aren't they? Maybe
they would be,
years. Yeah. I'd say that they just felt like they just, they were so fresh, and they just came out, and even though they're not really my type of thing, there was so much energy in their performance. It was like hard to say, it was hard to say anything bad about them in that sense. Even if it wasn't you know, my type of music. It was definitely so energetic, the performance, you know, absolutely 100%.
Even if you don't appreciate the tunes, you can appreciate the performance.
Exactly, yeah. And I did still appreciate the tunes. It's just really what got me was just how hard hitting they were. Just completely just came out and demolished the stage. Like,
one of the things I noticed about Ketos, and it was one of the both the guitarists actually, they looked like they were loving it.
Oh yeah.
And I love seeing a band. See, when you're watching a band and they look like they're enjoying themselves, to me that's when the crowd's starting to enjoy themselves. And I know there's certain bands can't do that. I mean, when you've got like death metal bands that have got that serious thing, they can't come on and be all fucking smiley, happy, joy.
But even then, you know, they have that energy, you know what I mean? Still.
But bands like Ketos can do that.
Well, that's it.
And it just looked like they were absolutely loving it.
Yeah, you couldn't miss that. Like, they're big shit-eating grins the whole way through. And I think what sort of, from the start, you kind of knew, because they just opened up into their first song, and Pete says, none of this sort of coming on, oh, hello, we're Ketos, blah, blah, blah. As soon as he started, he goes, we're Ketos. And that was pretty much it. And you just, you know, they got the format. They just hammered, no messing about between songs, from one song to the next, just hammered into it.
The other thing about that gig is I've always thought Ketos were an underrated band. I thought they were really, really good, but there didn't seem to be a band that always drew crowds.
Yeah.
You could quite often go to a Ketos show and there wouldn't be a lot of people there. I'm wondering if this will help them in that sense. You know, would there have been a lot of people that went down there and went, holy fuck, these guys are good, I'll definitely check these next time.
They actually brought quite a big crowd with them, I noticed, because there was a lot of ones wearing Ketos t-shirts and stuff, and there was so many up at the front, and like they got a one more tune chant, and people chanting their name.
They did.
At the end.
That was a surprise for me as well, because I didn't know there was such a huge fan base for Ketos out there, you know, like loads of people, you know.
Yeah. Following that, third band of the night were Disconnect, and Ali, you can take a lead on this one.
At Disconnect, I mean, I've been a huge fan for years, and for Disconnect coming out with a new drummer, I know a lot of people it was the opposite way, but I was actually kind of worried that they would get away from the original format with an actual drummer. But Disconnect, I mean, they were just amazing, you know, definitely not for me, and I knew they were going to be great, but surprise for everyone else, I'd say 100%, and in my opinion they were the winners this year, you know, and obviously I knew that they may not get through because obviously they're still, in a lot of people's eyes, they're still, you know, fresh. A lot of people don't really know them, and as well with the new lineup, they're still fresh. But they completely deserved to have got through this year, and they put on an absolutely stellar performance.
One of the things I said in the previous podcast is I would have liked one band at one stage during the competition to just blow me away. A band that I'm not expecting anything from. And for me, already, Heat 1, Disconnect with that band. Yeah. I listened to the album about a week before the gig. Listened to it through and thought, yeah, I appreciate that, I kind of enjoy that, but it's maybe not up my street.
Yeah.
See, when they came on stage, for about the first 30 seconds, it was kind of what I was expecting. And then it just opened up. It felt like someone just tore it apart, and it just exploded with sound, and my jaw dropped at that stage. I thought the sound coming out of those speakers from three guys was just
amazing.
It was phenomenal.
Do you know, and especially
so good.
The sound as well, you know, was just from every single instrument as well was amazing. You know, Paul's bass tone was so, you know, dirty and just like, you know, kicked you right here, and then just everything just worked perfectly. I mean, kudos to the drummer. You know, I've never met him or heard of him before, and he was absolutely fantastic as well.
There's a couple of the Disconnect songs if you listen to the album. And it's just a couple of words screamed, and that echoes for a bit, and then it's just a couple of words screamed. And on the record, I kind of thought, well, I didn't think much of it.
Live.
See, live, it just, those words just kind of reverberated around Voodoo.
Yeah. You're all fucking scum.
Just
catchy, doesn't it?
I thought it was so good, and as you say, the drummer was absolutely bang on.
He was
so
unbelievable.
Good.
Like, it's I say, I'll hold my hands up and say I thought they were, you know, didn't think anything of them, thought they were going to be last, just thought no chance. And I actually missed the start of them. I was downstairs, like, thought to myself, oh, sure, I'll come up, I'll catch a bit of them. See, as soon as I, you know, walked through the doors, it's like, holy fuck, what is this? This isn't what I was expecting. And for me, yeah, they were the best band on the night for me. And the drummer was just, that guy is unbelievable. He was all over the kit, but you never thought he was going to lose it at any point. He was just so on the button, like it was.
He had such a control, I think, over the band as well. You know, he completely kept everything together, just like a drum track would have done. You know, just like, and that's what I think Adam needed as well, and Paul, because they played with a drum track for so long that to have a drummer that can keep it together just like it did is just perfect for them, I think.
Well, that's, you also need an actual drummer to be able to feed off as well, because you know there will be swings and stuff, and when you can lock in the way they did, then it gives you a lot more room to sort of, like I said, just expand. If you've got a drum machine, then it's
exactly what you know it's
there, and you know what you're doing. Where you need that wee bit of extra room, and they completely blew me away. 100%.
And then the final band of the night was Lockhorns, and
amazing.
So good. So good, almost speechless. I mean, how long ago was that gig? It was over a week ago now? 9 nights ago.
Yeah, just over a week.
And I'm still reeling from it in a way. Just how good that gig was. I don't know about the rest of you, I was like way up at the front, and it felt like being up at the front of a big proper gig. You know, everyone around me was going nuts. There was people singing, and I was actually, how the fuck do you know the words to these songs? Because they've not put them out. If there was people singing along the Wendigo, I would have been like, fair enough, that's up on YouTube, all the lyrics there. But there's people singing the rest of the songs, and I'm like, have you got these songs? Because I don't have these songs, and I don't fucking want these songs. Performance-wise,
tightest band, easily the most professional. Like, you know, they get up there, and it's they are, you know, you think they're a professional touring band. They just have like, Alex knows how to work a crowd. Like, you know, a lot of times you get people sort of screaming, "Oh, come on, Belfast," and it feels a wee bit sort of forced and cheesy, and stuff. But with him, it's natural, and you get yourself sucked in. So, and that voice is something else. Like,
they're a band. See, anytime they play, I almost want to watch them twice, because I want to watch them once and go nuts, and then I want to watch them again and just stand back. Like, see, I think the guy's called name Reese, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
Reese, loads of slap and pop, which you wouldn't expect in that kind of band.
Yeah, sort of
the way he plays,
Cornish kind of.
It drifts into like genty stuff without being. I find some gent to be a bit pretentious.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound that way at all. Loads of really interesting rhythms. It's not just 4/4.
Yeah.
I think the closest comparison you can get is Lamagod. They are very Lamagod.
Yeah, they have that.
But it's a wee bit more intelligent than that. There's the rhythms are smarter. And one of the things I will say is the one song they've put out, that Wendigo? I think it's a brilliant song.
I can see that. You know, I can see that getting the main stage crowd bouncing in the middle of the day.
I think it's their weakest song. That's maybe not everyone would agree with that. But the rest of the songs, like some of the melodies in it, it's like I need those lyrics. I need those lyrics so I can sing along to this the next time I see them. It's like, I know that they're working on stuff, I know that they're recording, but get that material out there. Please get it out. I need those songs.
There's a lot of appreciation towards them as well, with just how tight they were, and as well, again, the energy is just you feel it, you know, when you walk through the room, because I walked through halfway through their first song, you know, and you just feel it hit you. It's like amazing, you know. Definitely, I'd say they're up there, you know, for me this year.
And I know they weren't headlining and such. They just happened to be on last, because it's luck of the draw what order the band's playing, to keep it fair.
But they were headlining.
But it felt like they headlined. It did.
I think also going back to Elder Druid, I think that maybe hindered them as well. If they had gone on last, I think they would have done better.
Yeah.
You know, it's going on first as well is, you know, you have to be in a complete in the zone proper mindset and know what you're doing. And
I'll be the first to admit it. I enjoy a band more if I've got a few beers in me.
Most
the
people
bands
do.
that are playing towards the end of the night, I'm going to have more beers in me at that stage. You know,
I think it's a shame, you know, that those 4 bands were put together and one had to go on first. I think for sure, because there were just 4 bands who definitely all could have made it to the finals, no worries at all.
So we had predicted on the last podcast, the 3 of us all agreed, me, you and Jamie agreed, it would be Elder Druid and Lockhorns.
Yeah.
We get a tick in the box for Lockhorns. We were off the mark for Elder Druid. Ketos went through. What do you reckon? Did the right 2 bands go through, Ketos and
on the night?
Horns?
Yes, because you have to base it on the night. You can't sort of go. It's all right us beforehand discussing previous gigs and how bands have been before, but it's how you play on the night, and if you don't bring it.
Ketos and Lockhorns, right bands?
It's a difficult one for me. Lockhorns, 100%. Ketos as well were great, but I really do think that Disconnect deserved to go through that night. I think that Disconnect, just the energy that came off them, and with them coming out their first show of a drummer in like 2 years or something mad like that, and their first show with that drummer, it was just like the energy was so high and they played so tightly. I think they deserved as well. But then again, Ketos were just amazing as well. It was a really tight heat, I think. A really difficult choice.
I would have put Disconnect in ahead of Lockhorns.
Is that right?
Yeah, based on the performance on the night. I think it was because of the whole not expecting anything from Disconnect and it then being just 100%. Such a surprise for me.
I mean, bear in mind what we said in the last podcast. LDK ended up being the weakest band in your eyes.
Yeah.
And I don't think you don't mean that as a...
Oh, well, I love the boys. I think they're brilliant. But on that night, they didn't have it. They weren't at it at all.
I think if they'd been higher up or in a different heat, they would have gone through no problem.
Yes.
I think there was just a lot of difficulty with being on first, and as well the place wasn't packed out. It wasn't.
I think there was still a decent crowd, but it's like I said, they didn't grasp the format.
Mm-hmm.
To me that seemed like they were playing their own gig. So instead of just coming out and hitting everybody, they were meandering through, and there was gaps between the songs. You can't really do that. If you're gonna do the tuning up thing, or somebody needs to talk. Somebody needs to. And I was speaking to one of the judges, Mark, and he was saying one of his criteria is how they're going to be on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
How it's going to translate on that New Blood stage. And if you're sitting there, backs to the audience, tuning up, and nobody's saying anything, that goes against you.
And if it came out of personal opinion, not just out of performances, out of what I musically love, it would have been Illiterate, Disconnect, but from that night it had to be Lockhorns and then Ketos or Disconnect for sure.
Yeah,
it was a tough one, but it was between them three in my opinion, definitely on that night.
Each podcast we like to have like a discussion topic, and this week we will briefly talk about the way in which some people approach the voting of the competition, and I'm talking about the crowd vote. The judges' vote has nothing to do with us, and we will not even get involved in that. So personally, a couple of people threw a few opinions around at me on the night, and someone said that you shouldn't be voting based on any sort of personal taste, or because your mates are in a band, or because blah blah blah. I personally don't agree with that. I think if you pay £5 into that competition and you get handed a voting slip, you've paid your £5. It's up to you what order you put those bands in, and you can put those bands in whatever order you want. If you want to vote for your mates, you absolutely can. If you don't want to vote for someone because you think he's a ball bag, I think you're entitled to do that. You've paid your £5, and no one's asking you to justify your 4, 3, 2, 1. So I think it's fair dues. What I think is bullshit is people who put down their 4, 3, 2, 1 before the last band's played.
Yeah.
If you're going to do what I just described, as in vote for your mates or negatively vote someone you don't like, at least have the fucking sense to wait until the bands have finished, put your numbers in and hand it in.
But then, if you're saying it's okay to not vote based on how the bands play, then they already know what they're going to do. Why do you have an issue then with them doing it the first? Because they're going to vote that way anyway.
Because if they vote in a certain way and then hand the vote in after the second band's played.
Although James doesn't accept them.
That's what I was going to say. I would assume that the vote doesn't get counted.
No, somebody did that apparently on the night, and from what I understand, the voting slip was crumpled up and thrown back. Because there's a sign on the door says voting slips not to be handed in until 11:45 or whatever.
Yeah. And I don't think that was there before. Actually, I think that.
Well, it's only because of people doing that.
Well, I mean, I think that when it comes to voting before before the last bands come on, I think there's a lot to do with as well. When I go to the Metal to the Masters, I go with blank slate, even though I'm maybe going to see my mate's band, I always go and say, well, look, I'm going to voting who's the best and who performed the best. If I had went to voting, on Heat 1 because my mates were playing it, I would have voted Elder Druid and Disconnect, but I didn't. I'm not going to say who I voted for, obviously, but I will say that I did vote them high still, but I did take other performances in the in the opinion as well, and I think it is really important to do that.
Well, to me, it's the only way to do it, because you're basing it on their performance on the night. As the fact that we said beforehand what we thought it was going to be, and we all ended up voting completely differently.
Just to clarify, I do vote the way you're describing.
Yeah.
I think whoever the best band is, in my opinion, if I thought Kidos were the best, Kidos will go top. If I thought Lockhorns were second, they'll go second. I'm just expressing that people have the right to vote whatever way they want.
Yeah,
so,
but to me, you shouldn't do it that way, because it's not fair. Otherwise, and this is why I don't like crowd votes, because it all comes down to a popularity contest, and whoever brings the most people. And I've spoken to a couple of bands recently who are coming up in heats, and one in particular was saying how they never bring people to these things. They just don't. They're the people that follow them don't come to them, and so that's why they reckon they're not going to get through. Even though in that particular heat, for my money, that band should be top.
I think personally, outside the podcast, we've said before that there is no way to do a competition that is beyond scrutiny.
Oh yeah.
Or criticism. No matter what you do, whether you just go for judges, it'll get criticism. If you just go for a crowd vote, it'll get criticism. If you just threw a load of names in a hat and picked one out, it would get scrutinised. You can't have a band competition without some criticism.
No
I think what Metal to the Masses have done is pretty much the best you can do. I think it's reasonably
but
fair.
I think as well, I know we wouldn't talk about judges. I think that with the 50-50 vote, you're getting a crowd vote, you're getting a judge vote. But I think that when it comes to judges as well, it has to be a fair vote as well. Because the judges, that is taking the side of professionalism in it, and they should be voting on just a straight up professional basis of this band performed really well, and there should be no opinions thrown in. I'm not saying there is in the Metal to the Mass, but I think that there is criticism on both sides of it. There's the crowd vote, which is criticised because mates bands are turning up, and then there's the judge vote, which is criticised for pretty much the same thing. If they personally prefer a band, maybe they're going to vote for them higher on their side of things. So I think it's a bit of a strange one. It's a hard one to get perfect, and I don't think you can get it perfect.
See, I sometimes think it's a funny criticism to throw at a judge. You voted for them because they're your preferred band. Well, if they're their preferred band, it's probably because they think they're the best band, so they would get that vote anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, why it shouldn't be. If the judges are voting, it should be put out by a sign of how well a band played. And I know that obviously that's a really hard job to do, but it's like if you look at any sort of show, even I'd say MasterChef, for fuck's sake, you're looking at the judges are voting on the terms of how good this person has done this one thing, and I think that's how it should be done in Metal Mass as well. I'm not saying it's not how it's done, but that's why there's criticisms on both sides, because people do feel like that happens.
Well, that's it as well. If one of the judges, if their favourite band's playing, they're always going to be predisposed to sort of looking at them a bit more favourably, even if they've maybe not played as well. But because it's this is my favourite band, they're going to go, well, yeah, I thought they were great. And yourself, you've probably been to gigs where band you've really loved haven't played as well as you'd have hoped, but then you're still, because you've got that affection for them, you still sort of bump it up a few notches.
See, thinking about it in those terms, is there a long game here to be played? Should you be playing Belfast once a month and trying to get and play in front of the people who are likely to be judges, to get your sort of get your foot in the door sort of thing? It's a horrible way to think about it. Let's go and play these gigs to try and impress person A, B and C.
I'll tell you now, coming from a personal perspective of playing in a band who's done not just Death but mostly Neville, you do play not to generally impress someone, but you do like to get to be able to sit down a couple of days later and see a review saying Neville surprise performance, blah blah blah, and that it does feel really good. And I think that there's a lot of bands who strive off that more than anything, So my bands really don't, we enjoy getting that, but we don't strive off it. But I would say there's a lot of bands who would try and create this huge, popular basis of, certain people, not, less others, but mostly, people who might be judges or people who are reviewers and things like that.
I think it is a tricky one because you don't want to oversaturate, but then you do still, there are certain people you want to get the reviews and stuff. You want people to say this is because that's the whole way you build things. You build a following because somebody's gone and read a review where your band's been third on or whatever, or third on the bill, and they've gone, oh yeah, I really like these guys, and somebody's like, oh, I've never heard of them, read the review and go, all right, I'll have to check them out, and it snowballs. But then you run the risk of playing if you play too much, then people are like, oh, I'm not going to go see them again. They've played twice in the last month already.
I think the Crawling and Unyielding and Love, I've got it down perfectly in the sense of, same as Stranglewire, in the sense of not oversaturating, but also keeping it good, maybe every couple of months playing a show, keeping people, keeping people's minds in, but also playing shows in other countries. But I think when it comes to the Belfast scene, you can't oversaturate, and I think that's something I've been guilty of, playing every week, playing the same venues over and over again, trying to build up a crowd. But after a while, it's like you realise that you're playing the same stuff to the same people over and over again, and you can't be guilty. You can't do that,
I've done it myself. I've been planning to go out, and you get home from work on a Friday night, and you go, oh, we're going to go out. And it's like, well, it's band A, B, and C. They'll be playing in 3 weeks' time anyway, so we'll see them now.
Exactly,
So the next heat is on the 9th of February in Voodoo again. We have 4 bands again, and those bands are Cursed Sun, Death of a Salesman, Corvid, and Oracle. So let's start with the first one. Going through them in alphabetical order, to be fair. Cursed Sun. I'll start with you, Liam.
I like the boys. Said it last week. Been a big fan for a long time. They're great to watch. They've got the tunes. They're always entertaining, and at risk of looking like an absolute idiot again after the heat, I think they should take this one. Okay. It'll be tight, but I think they've got it for this one.
Cursed Sun are a band that have been about for, I said this last time, they've been about for 10 years. And I'll be honest, they were a band who I always enjoyed watching live, but I never really went out of my way to get their material until last year when they dropped the Amygdala.
Yeah, oh yes.
And I just think 4 or 5 tracks.
I think so, yeah.
It's 4 tracks, and then there's an acoustic version of one of the tracks. I think it's an absolute banger, and I have been rinsing that. I said this last time, I've been rinsing that. But someone said to me recently, if you like that one, go back and listen to the previous one, Rise and Fall.
Yeah.
And my God, 2 of the songs I already knew from knowing them, or from seeing the band so many times. I think it's also an absolute brilliant EP, and I hope they keep doing that. That 4 or 5 track EP thing, I think so many bands should do that. Just don't worry about big albums, because I don't think you need it if you're at this level. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I just hope they keep putting out EPs of that size that often, because I think they're really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing them playing, because I know that they are a band that will up their game for a competition.
Oh yeah.
It won't just be another gig. Ali, where do you stand on Cursed Sun?
Cursed Sun are a weird one for me, because they're really like the opposite of what I like in my metal completely. But saying that, I've supported them a load of times, I've played with them a load of times. They're never doing anything half-assed. They're never, coming out and being like, oh, we're Cursed Sun, They just go at it every time. And, it'll be interesting to see the show, because obviously there's a new member, Steve Martin's joined.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, Steve Martin's, a member. I've played with him, obviously in Nevney. I've done Riff City with him. So it'll be interesting to see if it makes a change for me, makes a difference for me. And in saying that, I've never went to see them and went they're bad, but I think that what they're really good at is high energy performance, 100%. Even if it's something that I'm really not interested in at all, it's high energy performance, and they never half-ass anything.
I think Steve's going to add into that as well.
Yeah,
the previous bass player, good and all as he wasn't really sort of as active on stage.
I thought Matt's backing vocals were.
Oh yeah. Great with the backing vocals, but as a sort of like a physical entity and stuff, he didn't really move an awful lot. Where
Yeah,
Steve,
that's fair.
you know, Steve's gonna,
Oh yeah.
he's gonna be,
He will bring, he'll
Yeah.
definitely bring a bit
And-
more animation to
yeah,
the
and
I'm
he's
sure that-
aggression definitely.
Exactly. Not to sound biased either, you know, because obviously, you know,
It's
you're the
okay to be
same-
biased, but that's not
Yeah,
give a
but
fuck.
but not to sound biased, but Steve has a really good way of performance, and you know, and he just knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
He does.
He's done it for years. He knows what he's doing, and I think that he will bring a lot more energy to Kirsten, which is something that they already have loads of. You know,
Yeah.
so
Okay. They just announced it. Was it last night they announced it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Sunday. They announced it the previous night on the Saturday. How much of a spanner in the works do you reckon that is? Changing your lineup
a week.
literally 2 weeks before they
That's
I
2 weeks, yeah,
first
2
week.
weeks.
Thought that was a very, very weird one. You would have thought if there's, you know, you'd have thought he would have just said, right, you know what, we'll play this gig, get it out the way. But
Mm.
obviously, whatever outside influences just mean it has to happen now. It's
Let's hope
You-
that it goes well.
bringing somebody like Stephen's probably good in that regard because, you know, he's been on stage before. He knows how to play. He knows what he has to do.
Mhm.
You're not getting somebody who's going to freeze like a rabbit in the headlights. So I think they'll be all right. You
Yeah.
know, they'll know. They'll obviously just practice the set list, get it nailed, and yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be too much of a hindrance.
My opinion, and it's because I know Steve, and it's
Yeah.
because of being in bands with him, same as yourself, but a band. I've seen how quick he picks stuff up,
Yeah.
and I hate him for it.
That's amazing. You know?
I really do. I've seen someone go play this and going down, and then Steve just does the exact same thing. I've seen this thing where he can communicate with drummers in ways that I've never seen anyone
It's
communicate
like
with a drummer.
telepathic.
Like, do this man thing, and he'll go and just make noises, and then the drummer will do something, and he'll go, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted, and they're like,
Talented prick. You know?
No, but put one more thing in, you know, before obviously we move on, you know, but with Steve, you know, maybe, you know, he didn't work exactly perfectly well with Neville in terms of writing and everything like that, but Steve, you know, 100% knows what he's doing, and I'd say that he'll be playing this show in 2 weeks like he's been playing Curse On for years.
Yeah.
I really do.
the only thing I will say, Steve's a guitar player,
Yeah.
and Steve will say that. He is a guitar player, so man, I don't know, moving into a band on bass, I wish him all the best. I wish
Yeah.
Kirsten's son all the best, but there's a wee bit of me going, Steve's a guitar
He
player.
has done bass in bands before though.
Well, he was
hasn't
bass in Defied.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Defied, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think with Curset's on as well, like their bass lines, that it's not just, you know, boom, 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 boom.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be fairly intricate and stuff. But you know, I doubt he would have taken the gig if he couldn't do it.
Yeah,
they
this
wouldn't.
is
They
true,
wouldn't have
this
got
is
him in if
Yeah.
he didn't come up and, you know, show them that he can nail it.
100%.
Okay, next up on the list is a Belfast-based deathcore band called Death of a Salesman. Now, I used to go see these guys quite a lot just from going to gigs, and they happen to be on a lot of bills. I seen them support Lamb of God in the Mandela Hall. They seem to be very active between about 2011 and 2013, I think,
Yeah.
roughly that period, and I haven't heard a lot from them since. Personally, I wasn't overly keen on them at the time. I went back and listened to some of the stuff, the recent stuff and the raw stuff from back then, and I'm thinking my personal taste in music must have changed, because this stuff's fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good.
Usually not my kind of thing either. But
Absolutely. Like,
It's
deathcore is not my thing.
Yeah.
At
but
small doses.
But I'd say
This
it's
is
running
fine.
more on the hardcore side. of
Yeah.
deathcore, 100%.
There's elements of Parkway Drive, I think, in there, and I'm a massive Parkway Drive fan, but it's heavier than Parkway. It's definitely heavier than Parkway Drive, vocally, guitar wise, the lot. I don't know if do you guys know Aidan?
Yeah, yeah.
Aidan's so softly spoken. So see, when you listen to those vocals, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, that's that guy.
You see,
It blows my mind.
That's it. You know what really got me into Death Salesman was Tars, actually, because Aidan obviously joined Tars, and from seeing Tars with Aidan on bass and some side vocals, just I was like, wow, there's so much energy. So I just went and checked them out instantly, and it was like listening to their EP. I think it was their album from a couple of years ago, and then I haven't really listened to the new stuff, but I did listen to their album from a couple of years ago, and I'm really excited to see them. And I'm pretty sure there's a lineup change, isn't there, as well?
I think the whole band's been
I
reshaped.
think I'm not gonna count it, but I think the Dom playing bass for Death of a Salesman at the moment.
I think he might be, because I've seen him
I think he
posting.
was on
I
the
think he's
stage, yeah.
posting stuff up.
I
So
think
it
he's
was-
playing
it
these
was-
shows with them. Yeah,
Alright, cool.
it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
That's Dom as in the Hollow Truth Dom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think I saw him posting something up
So
on
I-
Snapchat about it.
I'm looking forward to their set. It's just so interesting to go and see a band that you didn't always like, but now it's kind of, I think these could be right up my street. I think
Yeah.
these guys could be really good.
Really excited.
And I think like there's certain bands that will just play that just fit any venue. I imagine Death of a Salesman are just gonna work so well on
They're gonna
Blu-ray.
destroy
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
gonna be so good for them.
I know I've befriended with their drummer Rory. He's just a phenomenal drummer, like, and that's usually that'll suck me into. If I'm not into a band style of music, if the drummer's really good, then that can sort of soften me up. And yeah,
Mhm.
with them, that's definitely what's happening. Yeah, they're gonna destroy the place. It's,
Also on the bill is Corvid. Now, there's some bands that you go and see and then you kind of forget whether you've even seen them or not. I can't remember if I've seen Corvid or not. I've went and listened to some of their tunes. They have on their SoundCloud page, they have, I might have this the wrong way around, but they have about 4 live songs from about a year ago and 4 recorded songs, studio recorded songs from I think 2 years ago. That might be the other way around. I think they're an odd band. They musically, genre-wise,
It's interesting.
it's not quite sure what it
Yeah.
wants to be, and I think it's a bit hit and miss.
Gordon.
yes.
When it hits, see the bits where it hits, I think it's brilliant. Some of it is so like it's just the music that makes you want to headbang immediately. And there's the vocalist goes between 2 different styles. He goes from a singy thing to a real sort of
Gore.
raspy vocal style, which I think, it's like butter in the mind. I think I said that about
He's
another
also
band.
he's also got that sort of pig squealy sort of
Yeah.
deathcore sound at times.
It's
as well.
interesting.
That side of it, I think's brilliant. The other side, I'm not sold on, so I'm holding off. I'm gonna wait and see them live, and then I'll make my mind up.
I'll say I have a lot of live experience at Corvid. I played countless shows with them last year. Well, not 2017, but early 2017 and went back into 2016. And, I know all the guys pretty well as well, especially Johnny. And, they're one of those bands I'll say now that I've been trying to get them to try to tell them like go on, you gotta try and just keep going with the doom, because I think that they work really really well on the doom side of things when it's just bludgeoningly heavy. But then I think when they try and go a bit lighter on it, more in the modern metal sound, it doesn't really flow with me. And I'll say as well that from last time I seen them, hopefully they've sort of edged up a bit on. Johnny has the sort of way, the vocalist sort of way of rambling on live, and just
Oh yeah,
Funny
that'll not work.
Funny enough, see the SoundCloud page I was talking about with the live tracks.
yeah, the 2
all
minutes.
that rambling's in there, and I sort of thought, I mean, if it's just an MP3 you're throwing up online, cut that out and just
yeah.
have the track. So I didn't really understand
It's
why
just
that was in
they
there.
have the EP on Spotify as well.
Yeah, there's on Spotify. I listened to it
so
last night.
I went to listen to it tonight. I only found 1 song on Spotify.
It must, because I listened to it in the bus on the way up here, so
Uh-huh.
it must just have been added.
It was at
Okay.
it last night. I listened to it on Play Music, and
Yeah.
but it's the EP's great. But again, there's that song. What do you call it? Something of War, and it has those big sing vocals, and it's just. I wish they'd just keep going for the really heavy stuff.
I'm with you on that, from what I've listened
Yeah,
to.
it's
Yeah.
from what I listened to, it didn't seem to know what it was doing. At 1 minute it's the deathcore sort of thing. The next minute they're trying to be sludgy, doom. Then there's a wee bit of a sort of they're trying to be a bit groovy on it, and
Of the four recorded tracks, there was one that was called I think it was Zombie Sludge something. Like that.
yeah,
I can't remember.
second
The
one.
thing
on
is,
EP.
it's the fastest track. It's almost veering towards thrash, and it's got sludge in the title, and that kind of threw me a wee bit. It's like,
And there's,
dunno.
I mean, when it comes to Corvid as well, the stage presence is really good from like the bass and the guitars and drums. But I think Johnny, hopefully, it's been a year since I've seen Corvid maybe now. Hopefully Johnny, the vocalist, has stepped up, because it's hopefully he gets into it a bit more this time, right?
Well,
And
like I
keeps
said,
cuts out the.
The judges have said that's what they look for. It's not just your performance on the night as well. They look at it from how is this band going to go down on a festival stage?
Yeah.
How are they going to? And if you're dithering and not speaking and look nervous and stuff, that will count against you. You've just got to act as if that's your home and you own it.
Last but not least on the bill is Oracle. Fairly new band, groove metal, I would say, with a hint of hardcore. There's definitely some wee bits in there that I think
100%.
there's bits in there that are beatdowny. I think if we played it to a hardcore crowd, there would be big swung, most certainly. Thoughts on Oracle? What do you reckon?
Oh, I love Oracle.
Yeah.
First time I seen them, I really didn't like them. Won't lie,
Yes.
but since now, see that last show they played with No Writ Lost. It was actually I think they played their EP.
Was that
ones.
okay? Yep.
And they're what William was saying as well. They're groove metal, but they've got such a hardcore edge to them. There was people swinging digs left, right, and centre at that. And I think Oracle are just a fantastic band. I think they're definitely going to get to the finals this year. I put my money on that. Like at least get to the finals again.
Yeah, I love them. First couple of times I've been the same as Ali. I wasn't overly fussed on them, but then a couple more times seeing them, and I think the last time I saw them was they were on the Cursed Sun 10th anniversary show, I think.
Yes, they were. Yep.
And just absolutely blew me away. Like they just there's something just massive about them,
and they're sweating at the end of
every
show. They're
they put it
it's
in
amazing.
And
I think they're a band that there's not really much you can say about them, but you don't need to. You know what I mean? They're just they're so good. Go see them.
They're another band. I'm a sucker for good vocals. See if a band has really good, heavy, aggressive vocals.
Yeah,
I'm in. And Jason's vocals are
fantastic,
fuck me, they're good. And sometimes you see a band like that and you see them live, and in amongst all that with the sound and being in a live venue and stuff, it does sound good. And then you hear them on record and it's not quite as good.
Yeah.
It's so good on record as well. They are a fantastic band. They look the part. They play brilliantly. They put on a hell of a show. They sound fantastic. They have Reese from Lockhorns. He does double duty, so he plays bass for Lockhorns, but he also drums for Oracle.
Talented bastards.
Hate people like that.
Pick one instrument. Don't show the rest of us.
I was actually going to say that. I didn't know that, because I'd say that Lockhorns and Oracle are not really similar, but they have a lot of similar traits to them, at least,
See, I would say that Lockhorns sound a bit like Lamb of God, and I would say Oracle sound a bit like Lamb of God.
But different
But
sides.
I don't think Oracle and Lockhorns sound like each other. It's like they've pulled different parts of that style of music in their own direction. And again, Oracle, once they get those songs out, and I believe they're working on a video, they've put a couple of wee teasers up on Facebook.
5 days. Yes.
So I'm hoping that, I think again things like that can give you a wee bit more traction.
You need to do that as well before a gig like this. You need to bring something out that then gets people going, because there's going to be people sitting on the fence going, I don't know if I'll be bothered going to that. And you bring out something like a video, or even if it's just a lyric video or something, it gets people interested. It puts you into their mind, and they're like, all right, I'll have to get down for that.
It's exactly what we done actually. Metal to the Masses last year, we put our EP launch out, I think just before Metal to the Masses or in the middle of it, and it did. It does work. And we put our video out with it too, and it got I think 15k views on Facebook.
You need to do something to cause a stir. I mean,
well,
there's what is there? I can't remember the exact number, but there's roughly 24 bands in this competition. It could be so easy to just get lost in that and to not really, for no one to really notice you, and just.
I think that,
I guarantee that's going to happen.
So many bands have done that. You've seen it before, and they turn up, and like I said, I was speaking to one band who are coming up in an upcoming heat, and they just don't seem to be interested in getting a crowd going. And it's like, but that's half the battle with this.
I think that
you have to put the effort in. It's not just James promoting it online and stuff, or us slabbering about it here. The bands themselves need to actually get their mates, their core fans, to actually turn up. And we saw that at the first heat. Ketos did it. Lockhorns had a good crew out, and that's how you do it. That is how you win these things.
Absolutely.
I'd say that if there was one message I could say, to all the bands playing this heat, it would be, even if you're not in it to win it, make it like you are. Don't half-ass it. Just go straight out and everything, social media, every single meet, you know, it doesn't matter even if you don't feel like you're going to win it, just go for it, you know, it doesn't matter, just go for it and do the best you can.
I think in this heat, some of the other heats that have been announced, you see bands in there and you're like, these boys have just applied for the crack because you know they're not bloodstocks, they're not bloodstock bands, and they're obviously just in it for for a gig or whatever.
Yeah.
But every band on this heat or in this heat could play bloodstock, and and their style they would work. So each one of these bands needs to be in this to go right. This is ours, and I think it's going to be such a great heat.
It's going to be fantastic heat.
Okay, so let's call it. I'll go with you first, Ali. What two bands are going through? We'll do this in the same format we've done it last time. What two bands do you think are going through? What two bands do you want to go through?
What two bands I think are going through? I'd say Cursed Sun and Oracle. I'd say that's without a doubt, in my opinion. Bands I want to see go through those. It's a hard one. I'd say it's between the Oracle 100% and then either Death of a Salesman or Corvid.
Bands I think will go through, it's going to be Cursed Sun and Oracle. Bands I would like to see go through, Cursed Sun and Death of a Salesman, mainly because obviously I'm friendly with Rory the drummer. I'd like to see him get on through, but we could have egg on our face again. Corvid could do a disconnect.
Yeah.
No.
I'm kind of on the fence about this one, but I've pushed you guys for an answer, so I'm going to give an answer. I think the bands that will go through will be Cursed Sun and Oracle. I mean, Cursed Sun finalists twice.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if they went out in the first round. Maybe the new lineup will be that spanner in the works that we talked about.
But it could actually inspire them.
The other band I think will go through is Oracle, and then on the flip side, the two bands I want to go through. I'm going with the same, Cursed Sun and Oracle. That's who I think I'll go through, and that's who I want to go through. But you've seen how confident we were about Druid. This competition is not as predictable as we
definitely not.
As we kind of,
at least not these two heats anyway.
Yeah. I don't think Heat 3 will be very predictable, but for different reasons. We'll cover that in the next podcast.
Yeah. Double duties for
We'll see who goes through. I think it's going to be another belter of a gig. I really do. Cursed Sun's new material is brilliant. Oracle's new material is brilliant. Death of a Salesman to me is going to be like checking out a band that you thought you didn't like, now you do like them, so that's going to be great. Corvid, again, as you say, they could put a disconnect. I could go down there and go, no, let's check them out, and they could blow me away. So
let's hope.
I think it could be a fantastic gig. One thing I do want to mention is there's the potential for us to be criticised for blowing smoke up bands' asses, because if you've watched the first one, and if you're listening to me now, you've clearly watched the second one, we've been 90% positive about everything. Stick with us, because I don't think that's going to be the case for some of the other bands and some of the other heats. We're not bullshitting anyone. We're saying what we genuinely firmly believe. At the same time, we're not trying not to be dickheads about it and being disrespectful to any bands.
And I think these 8 bands so far have just been incredible bands, and that's why. Yeah,
the first 2 rounds have been top-notch lineups, and I think that's reflected in the way we're approaching this. There are going to be other bands that we won't be so positive about. So so stick with it. I think that's us.
One last public service announcement for everyone. When you're voting, don't fuck up your voting slip like some idiots did. Namely myself. Your first band should be 4, then 3, 2, 1. Dickhead here went 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So lucky enough I was able to run up to James and correct it any time. But just don't be a dickhead like me.
That's why I was standing at the door going, 4 is your biggest vote, so vote disconnect.
Okay, so as we said, 9th of February is the next heat. Cursed Sun, Death of a Salesman, Corvid and Oracle. Get down. It will be a brilliant gig. Oh, yes. It really, really will. And then hopefully we'll be back after that to discuss the results, see who went through, and then we'll be talking about Heat 3. So, cheers for watching, much appreciated, and we'll see you next time. Keep listening to the wrong kind of music. Was that corny?
No, that was fucking great.